Monster Hunter community team at Capcom USA.
モンスターハンターライズプロデューサーの辻本です。今回はレディットに寄せられておりますコミュニティの皆様の質問にお答えしたいと思っております。
Last month, we collected a number of your questions and sent them to Monster Hunter Rise director Yasunori Chinose. Unfortunately, he was unable to record a video of his answers, but he gave them to me right here. I'll be delivering them to you on his behalf. All the newly added monsters are my favorite. If I were to choose one that I like the most, it would be Magna Malo. I've been working on Magna Malo for so long, and it took me a long time to complete it, so I have strong feelings about this monster. Initially, I wanted to create a tiger-shaped monster. However, the main planner came up with the idea of an armored warrior with a long spear, and the prototype of the current Magna Malo was born.
はい、明けのシルームです。理由はですね、僕すごく、雨男といいますか、すごくいろんなところ行ったら雨が降る、キャラでして、とても傘っていうのが、重要な僕の中ではアイテムになってますので、ぜひ雨降った時は明けのシルームに傘代わりになっていただきたいと思っておりますので、好きなモンスターにさせてもらいました。
Magna Malo does not feed only on fresh meat, but also on decomposed meat. It decomposes the meat in its body and produces a special gas which does not smell very good.
僕のはですね、鉄柱回転攻撃が、好きな技となっています。理由の方はですね、僕はハンマーを使ってるんですが、鉄柱回転攻撃ってすごくやっぱり、派手な攻撃でもあって、
Not gonna lie, almost forgot about Capcom.
強さもあって、あと、距離もだいぶ詰めれますので。
I remembered Take Two was today, and I decided not to stream it because if they said that there weren't going to be any games there, apparently that held true. It seemed more like it was just like a conference about diversity or something.
You can enjoy the feeling twice with
It was weird. I didn't even pay attention to it.
はい、子供の頃にですね、怖かった妖怪っていうとですね、
I want to get back into Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter Rise came out on the Switch, and I played it, played the demo. It was a lot of fun. The new, like, sling thing or whatever, the wire bug, I think it's called. Really fun. You can pull off some really badass moves. But I heard it's coming to PC, so I might wait for that. Since it can run on the Switch, I figured it should be able to run flawlessly on my computer. Heavy bowgun.
I often played Hunting Horn.
Hell yeah.
Hunting Horn was a weapon I've played in the past.
So, I don't know what exactly they'll be showing off. Monster Hunter, obviously. I'm hoping for something about Resident Evil Village DLC, though it's only been like a month since it came out, so I'm not too hyped for it. I'm not anticipating it a lot, but it'd be cool. My expectations are tempered.
My favorite armor is Bishaten.
Can't say the same for Nintendo tomorrow.
And how it emphasizes mobility.
Expectations are through the roof.
Inspired by the costumes of Japanese ascetic monks and mountain priests.
It has been 3 years since Mario Odyssey, and 3 years since Breath of the Wild. 2 years since it was announced that Breath of the Wild 2 was in development. There's also rumors about another Zelda HD remake.
でスキルの方はですね、広域化っていうスキルを結構使うことが多くて、
I'm excited for Nintendo tomorrow, which I never thought I'd say. Also, I think I'm more or less done with Odyssey. I got 500 moons, so I got to like the final kingdom, which is apparently like a super hard gauntlet that I'm never gonna do. So I think I'm done. I'll probably like I'm done sitting down and playing it like legitimately. But I'll still go back and like get moons and stuff because I have like 530 or something. So there's still 300 left to get.
One day I
But
was
I'm not
trying to
gonna
check the
like
game. I saw one
get
of
into it
Yomogi's
seriously. It'll be
feline
like
helpers
something
lying on the ground.
I do if I'm bored
So I
late at
asked
night or
Mochi what
something.
was going on and was told
Like
that they
every
were
now
testing
and
out a
then.
situation where the feline ate a bad dango that Yomogi made and collapsed. That was a good idea, but unfortunately it didn't make it into the final game. That's because while Yomogi was having an important conversation, the feline was unconscious. That didn't make sense, so we had to say no to the idea.
I still need to play Iceborne.
I wanted an iconic scene
I fell
that would
off
be
of Monster Hunter
recognized as
World
Monster Hunter
a little
Rise
before
just by
Iceborne came
looking at
out.
the food scenes.
I used to play with a friend, but
I
then
decided to use
just stopped playing
elements
it.
that were different from those used in the past, such as meat and fish. I personally love sweets.
And
since
now
the theme
it's
for
on the
this game is
Series S,
Japanese,
which is what I
I
have,
decided to use
but it looks
Japanese sweets as motif.
like awful.
And who doesn't
It
like
looks
sweets,
really
right?
bad because it's the base 1 version, so it's like 900p. It runs at 60, which is cool, but it's so blurry and jagged and just not good looking. So until they put out some update, which I hope they put out some update, make it at least 1080, I can't do it. It looks rough. Which I don't remember it looking that terrible on the 1S.
はい、そうですね。複数のチームもそうですし、今やっぱりゲーム
If anything, I might just get it on PC and start over.
が関わってきますので、そういう全体的にも情報共有がしっかり取れるような環境での開発を進めています。
Oh, also, I said I was gonna start Last of Us 2 after E3, so like Wednesday. I might not do that. I've burned myself out from streaming because I have been streaming, I don't know, 2 weeks every day. I might just take a break and then maybe come back in a bit.
But you know, there's a certain. I agree.
I'm also on like a new game grind.
When you finally get the wind up,
right in the feels.
And the hit.
So like I don't want to replay a game. I'd rather get to newer games. So like I just played Odyssey. I'm gonna start Yakuza Like a Dragon. I just downloaded it last night because it was just added to Game Pass. And there are a bunch of demos because of the ID at Xbox thing. I'm probably gonna be doing that for a while.
You can get your comments on the little ticker that goes by, and of course we're running polls throughout this. We've been running polls all day long about the old Capcom, because of course we are coming up pretty dang quick on the Capcom presentation. As a rundown again
In
of what
2
we
minutes.
know officially for Capcom, of course is be hosted by our friend Seltzer. Then we know we're gonna get stuff on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're gonna get stuff on Monster Hunter Rise. We're gonna get stuff on Monster Hunter Stories 2. We're gonna get Resident Evil Village.
Nice.
That is what they have officially said. Of course, I still hold out hope for more on Resident Evil 4 VR. I hope more on that Resident Evil multiplayer game.
Yeah.
And then if you really want to start dreaming, I know earlier you want to talk about Lost Planet, like that's gonna happen.
Resident Evil 4 is getting a remake. Possible they'll talk about it, but I feel like that's very unlikely.
We already know. I'm looking forward to seeing what Resident Evil Village content they're planning to bring to the table. Game's been a massive hit. I'm expecting them to come out, talk about that, and also maybe give us some new stuff.
Yeah. Jackie, what do you want?
Okay, so I am not super into puzzle mystery games, just being completely honest. But I mean, Ace Attorney just totally plays to me. Obviously, I'm a big weeb. I absolutely adore anime. So just seeing the protagonist being like, objection, like I'm just like, I am absolutely 100% here for it. Also, there's a character in there named Herlock Sholmes.
Of course.
I mean, that alone, I'm just like, I'm exactly. I was like, I love this, so I'm definitely here for it.
You have to pay
It's so smart, right?
Yeah, you'll be getting it, of course, Ace Attorney, the Chronicles here.
I'll say the banter here is much better than the banter at IGN. At IGN Expo, it was just, they took jokes and they just stomped it into the ground.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to the Capcom E3 Showcase. I'm your host, Rachel Querico, aka Seltzer, and I'll be your guide as we walk through the latest releases, news, and updates from Capcom. We'll hear from the Resident Evil Village team,
Good.
share some news from the world of Monster Hunter,
Good.
and get the latest on Ace Attorney.
Don't
Then we'll
know
wrap
anything
up
about the
with
game.
some updates from our friends at Capcom Fighters. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Our first stop today, Resident Evil
Let's
Village.
go.
The Resident Evil franchise continues to pioneer the latest and greatest in survival horror. The team has been blown away by the response to Resident Evil Village,
It's so good.
which launched last month. It brought the world another chapter in this decades-long story as the franchise celebrates its 25th anniversary this year. I'm honored to be able to introduce Tsuyoshi Kanda, producer on Resident Evil Village, with a special message for the fans.
Another time.
Bye-bye.
There's nothing to fear.
Here's Rose.
Oof.
She's everything to me.
I love this song.
I think it's time you left things in my hands. Go on, rest now.
Hi everyone, my name is Tsuyoshi Kanda, producer on Resident Evil Village. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's played since we launched the game in May. We hope you're enjoying this new chapter in survival horror. As a reminder, everyone who purchases Resident Evil Village will gain free access to our online multiplayer title, Resident Evil RE-verse, where players go head-to-head with their favorite Resident Evil heroes and
Jesus
violence.
Christ.
I'm now happy to announce that Resident Evil RE-verse will go live next month across all supported platforms. So head into
I'm
the
not
site
super
to
interested in
celebrate
that.
the Resident Evil 25th anniversary.
Has just started. Damn. I mean, I wasn't expecting it soon, but just started hurts.
Some long-awaited news from the world of Monster Hunter. Whether it's adventuring alongside monsters or battling them with friends, we've got something for you. First, let's dive into the brand new story-based RPG entry to the series, Monster Hunter Stories 2:
I don't really know
Wings of Ruin.
what the gameplay of this is.
This was his fate. Red may have been strong and skilled, but against the awesome power of nature, he was merely a man. He never stood a chance.
All around, things just kept getting worse. But I heard that Guardian Ratha had survived and returned to Hekola Island. I went there to see Red's old monster again. Then, of course, that's when I met you.
You were given Red's kinship stone, and now a Rathalos egg.
Those aren't super hard to come by. Not in Monster Hunter World, they're just at the top of the map. Oh, it's adorable.
Raise Wing Ratha, the monster with the wings of ruin. It's said that a beat of its wings can bring about waves of destruction.
Many people believe there's a connection between the strange happenings and the wings of ruin. The pits are appearing everywhere, and they're emitting a strange light.
What's this whole idea of forming kinship with monsters?
Why not befriend them?
It's not about control. Monsters help riders of their own will. And the bonds between monsters and riders are just like your bond with Tsukino.
What kind of power does Ratha really have? Why are all of these pits appearing? And who are those people who want to take Ratha for themselves? All I have are questions.
If there's worry or doubt in your voice, Ratha will become anxious too. He needs to know that you will protect him no matter what.
What is...
I can
Is that a
sense the
Palico?
flames of his life force weakening. The burden of such great power is too much for his body to bear.
A voice. Can you hear it?
Riders can bond with monsters. Surely you can groove with fellow humans.
They have the power of kinship. They're friends. They're monsties. Humans carry the strength of everyone they meet.
I don't know how I feel about monsties.
My friends here taught me that. I believe in the strength of humanity.
I mean, I do like Monster Hunter. I do want more of it. So this seems like a completely separate game. I mean, I'll probably do the trial version to get a reminder. Yeah, I'm really happy when games give trials.
Looks pretty epic, right? And how about that announcement? The canine companion Palamute from Monster Hunter Rise will be joining Monster Hunter Stories 2 as one of the new monsties in the first free title update coming soon after the game's release. You can get an early peek at the game with the Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin trial version starting on June 25th, which also carries your progress over to the full game release just a few weeks later on July 9th. That's not the only way to join the hunt. Millions of you made Monster Hunter Rise a huge success earlier this year. And we have even more content coming, including a new collaboration on the Rise. Let's find out more.
Let's
go! So Resident Evil Village, they announced that their multiplayer mode is coming next month, and that DLC has started development. That's pretty much it for Resident Evil Village. They just talked about Monster Hunter Stories 2. And now they're talking about Monster Hunter Rise. I was hoping for a little more on Resident Evil Village because I love that game. I'm happy that DLC is confirmed, but it seems like it's very far away. I heard they're bringing this to PC, so I don't know if that was just like a rumor.
Tamura is like my second home.
You think you can take on Rondine?
Also, anything on Resident Evil 4 Remake would be sweet, but I'm not holding my breath.
There has never been a better time to be a Monster Hunter fan, with all the new updates to Monster Hunter Rise and the launch of Monster Hunter Stories 2 this summer. We can't wait to hear about your own stories of adventure. Well, that's not the only thing Capcom has in store for us this July. Fans of Phoenix Wright will have new chapters to explore with the release of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. North American and European future attorneys will finally be able to get their hands on the Great Ace Attorney Adventures and the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, which were previously only available in Japan. You'll travel back in time to the late 19th century Japan and London to play as Ryunosuke Naruhodo, Phoenix Wright's ancestor, in this action-packed prequel. Now,
This hasn't been too long since Resident Evil 3 Remake, and Resident Evil 4 is a big game, at least compared to Resident Evil 3 Remake. So it might take a little while, but it'd be awesome.
This country is incredible. I will become a lawyer. I have to.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder.
I don't know anything about Ace Attorney.
You must have heard of me.
We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san.
Let us engage in the art of deduction, Mr. Naruhodo. Well,
Like, I've seen the memes, but I don't know anything about the actual game.
it would seem the truth is now tantalizingly close.
The defense demands its right to a cross-examination. Objection! Your testimony completely contradicts the facts.
Objection! My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage!
Damn, dude, I wish court was like this in real life. That'll probably make people want to go to jury duty.
You're the best lawyer in the world.
So we have 10 new cases and 8 mini escapades where you can take on the role of a defense attorney. Now, we all want to see some gameplay, right? Let's take a closer first look at 2 gameplay features new to the franchise in the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
I mean, I'll watch some gameplay because I don't know what the gameplay is for these games.
Hello, I'm Jonathan, Capcom's marketing brand manager for the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
Where to?
The Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
The Capcom team is thrilled to present 2 new gameplay features, Dance of Deduction and Summation Examination, coming to the Ace Attorney series.
It's true. Most conferences usually end on a big reveal.
Conspicuous situations that require further examination with the help of Ryunosuke's legal aid Susato and the brilliance of deduction from Detective Herlock. Herlock will proceed to present his logic and reasoning spectacular, a grandiose yet flawed series of conjectures.
I still don't understand the gameplay. Is it just like a visual novel? Or do you actually have to like solve things? This dude's just snapping and saying things. Also, we've already gone through everything that they announced that they were going to talk about. Like, they announced that they were going to talk about Resident Evil Village, Ace Attorney, and Monster Hunter Stories and Rise. They've already talked about those, so I don't know what's next.
At this point, players will be prompted to search for clues that help identify the errors in the detective's logic and reveal the truth to the mystery.
Oh, okay.
As players present new evidence and observations, Herlock will amend his deductions based on the new information. Upon uncovering the truth, Ryunosuke and Herlock enter into a semi-metaphorical, semi-literal dance that brings them to the conclusion of the dance of deduction.
Why not? What? What? Dudes can have long hair. You're a terrible detective. What? Okay.
In courtroom battles, players will attempt to convince 6 jurors of the innocence of their client. Their progress will be displayed and represented by 2 scales of justice, one black, representing a guilty verdict, and one white, representing a not guilty verdict.
Objection!
In summation examination, take the stand to face off against the jurors, all of whom provide explanations as to why they've reached their guilty verdict.
You'll have to identify conflicting statements and sway the jury in your favor. Examine each statement carefully and select 2 contradicting jurors to call out the flaws in their logic.
Objection!
Be ready to provide evidence from the court record to help prove the contradiction in their claims. When you successfully point out one of these contradictions among the jurors,
I can see the
you might
appeal
just
of these
change
kinds
their
of
minds,
games.
too. With a slam of their fist, each juror you persuade will send a fiery ball towards the scales above and literally tip the scales of justice in your favor. Bring each contradiction to light and persuade the jury to help prove your client's innocence.
It's almost like LA Noire, just like anime.
This has just been a small taste of the exciting new gameplay features in the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are very excited to get this game in the hands of both new fans and diehard fans alike. Thanks for watching.
It already seems like I have a bunch of games to catch up on. There are some exciting new adventures and titles to look forward to. Well, that's a look at the new premieres from Capcom, but what about esports? Let's close out today's showcase with a few words from 2 of the stars of Capcom Fighters, Rob TV
It was a very
and
good
Vicious.
game.
They'll tell
Did
us
they say
what's been
close
going
out
on
the
with
show with
Capcom
this?
Esports, including updates on the Capcom Pro Tour, Intel World Open, Street Fighter League, and all the other content on Capcom Fighters. Over to you guys.
I'm hoping that was like a little bait. Like, we're gonna close out the show with this. Oh, but wait, there's actually one more.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Capcom Esports presentation for E3 2021. My name is Vicious, commentator for the Capcom Pro Tour as well as Street Fighter League, here with competitive Street Fighter V player and host extraordinaire, Hollywood, Rob TV. What's going on, Rob?
Oh my goodness, Vicious. Host extraordinaire. That just sounds beautiful. It has a ring to it, and I think that's the perfect word to describe what we have for everyone today. Street Fighter V, Capcom E3, it just feels right, and you feel the electricity in the air. Nice! Nice! What? That was nasty! And there might be some people at home, Vicious, who don't fully know what competitive Street Fighter V is. The long and the short of it is this. We travel all around the world, state to state, country to country, and we try to bring our opponent's life bar from 100 all the way down to 0 and feel pretty goddamn good doing it.
That's right, Rob. If you think you're the best in your region, sign up for Capcom Pro Tour to prove it and become possibly.
I do not think I am.
At Street Fighter V.
The double perfect, the way he looked at the camera like. Don't ever expect another man's controlling.
So in this year's CPT overall, it's a series of tournaments that have $5,000 on the line for each tournament, but that money alone, that's not what's really at stake here. It's about making it to the granddaddy of them all, Capcom Cup.
Item just reset in grand finals of Capcom Cup.
So behind me, you can see in all of its glory, the Capcom Pro Tour 2021 official stage and set, and that's a place that you are very, very familiar with.
That's right, we take all of our events and broadcast it live from this stage, and we check out all of the top competitors from each and every one of these regions. And speaking of, the Capcom Pro Tour has shaped up a lot. 2021, we have 32 events going on in the Capcom Pro Tour, spanning across 19 different territories. So there's so many opportunities for players from around the world to get that ticket into Capcom.
I really hope there's one more thing.
Excited because again, that is a big change from what 2020 was into what we could expect.
This is not a big end. If it is the end, then they literally announced everything that they were going to talk about earlier.
You can do so on a plethora of platforms. We have it on
Which normally it's like we'll talk about these and more.
Of course, if you don't catch it live, you can also check out the VODs for all the competitive studying you would need to become a successful Street Fighter V player, as well as catching some of the community-focused content that we have on Capcom Fighters. We have No Neutral, the official pre-show of the Capcom Pro Tour. We have sets where we take players from around the world and play off in an exhibition first to 10. Not only that, actually, we do have Street Fighter League that's happened season after season, non-stop action, 6 teams of 3, duke it out in this battle tournament series to see who will walk away with the championship and the $150,000 prize pool.
Street Fighter League is something that you don't want to miss because normally we only have 1v1 content. But now you actually have your teammates at your back, and every decision that you make is not just about you anymore.
Look for more news on Street Fighter League later this year.
It's Oki time. What's gonna happen? Nice. He checks it. He checks the movement. What's happening?
I mean, if this is supposed to be a 30-minute conference, they got 7 minutes left to show
the
something,
World Open
please.
Is happening right now. Top players representing 11 regions around the world are competing for their place in the World Finals happening next month. Be sure to check out the official website for more information, including current standings and broadcast schedule.
To commemorate this event, everyone who logged in during this period will receive an exclusive competitor title and dojo object. You do not want to miss this.
I highly recommend everyone to stay tuned for future Capcom Pro Tour updates on the Capcom Fighters channel.
And again, we've had so many events so far. We started off with the Japan region. We've had a couple of more events going on afterwards, but the action does not stop. In fact, we're going to be continuing off with the Midwest region for the Capcom Pro Tour. I know you're definitely excited about that.
100%. I mean, of course, your boy is from Ohio. Make sure you guys tune in to see the tournament.
You do not want to miss some of the best Street Fighter V players in the world compete head-to-head.
Man, they're spending more time on this than they did on Resident Evil. Honestly, I think they spent more time on everything else compared to Resident Evil.
This game has changed the lives of so many people here.
That's what I'm talking about.
I told you it's gonna go to the limit, and I ain't lying to the people.
This is the ultimate Street Fighter V experience. This is Capcom Pro Tour.
Thanks, guys. It's been a really exciting season so far, and I can't wait to see how this plays out on the road to Capcom Cup. Remember to check out Capcom Fighters' Twitch and YouTube channels for more information and to watch the latest matches. So that's a wrap for Capcom at E3 this year. Let's recap what we all saw. Resident Evil Village is back with the latest installment of the survival horror experience and RE-Verse as part of the franchise's 25th anniversary. We have new adventures to embark on in the world of Monster Hunter with Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, and Monster Hunter Rise. And don't forget to go back in time with the great Ace Attorney Chronicles to tap into the family history of Phoenix Wright and solve new cases. Finally, don't miss out on the esports fun. Make sure you catch the latest matches with Capcom Fighters. There really is something for everyone here today. But don't go anywhere yet. Join the conversation on Twitter and make sure you check out the Capcom virtual booth on the E3 portal to watch
Nah, I'm
all
good.
these videos again and more.
I don't think I need to
I'm
watch
Rachel
these again.
Puerco, aka Seltzer. Thank you for being part of the Capcom experience at E3 this year.
Alright. So the thing I was here for mainly was Resident Evil. And we didn't get anything from that. I guess if you're an Ace Attorney fan or a Monster Hunter fan, sure. Then it was fine. That was not great for me. Why did Nightbot?
Welcome back,
Nightbot, what the fuck?
On Capcom's presentation. I thought
I
that
didn't.
rhymed for a second, and then I was gonna go, that rhymed, and then I was like, that didn't rhyme.
I love seeing the wheel. I saw the gears.
I don't know why Nightbot did that. I gotta look at that.
Doesn't rhyme at all. It's just day 3, and I'm just feeling it, folks. I'm feeling it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I understand.
Not gonna lie though, that certainly got me amped. We saw a lot of great titles there, and we're gonna go into more depth about Great Ace Attorney Chronicles and.
That was pretty weak.
Wanted to focus on Monster
Man,
Hunter
that was not great.
Without a doubt, I am
so far,
hyped for Monster Hunter Stories
I think
2,
Xbox
Ruin.
has
That was a new trailer that we saw, and,
is the only conference that really nailed it for me. Ubisoft had some good stuff,
Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, but the first use of Monsties, it seems like people weren't
but
familiar with the term
man,
Monsties, and now we all are.
so far not been a great E3.
I am all for that.
I hope Nintendo brings a lot tomorrow.
But for me, when it comes to these narrative stories, the story has to be good. You know what I mean? And it's hard to tell with these game trailers sometimes. Like I'll be like, okay, this gameplay.
No, Sony isn't having a conference. So I'm sure at some point during the summer they'll have some event.
This trailer conveyed that. I think for me, what stood out was hearing. I think it was.
So really, the big ones are.
I love white-haired
Xbox and Nintendo.
Yeah, that sounds like.
Which Xbox was great, mainly because of how many games they're bringing to Game Pass.
Something like, you know, this monster can sense fear, it can sense anxiety.
This
and
Monstie.
Monstie. I'm sorry, I apologize.
It's gonna be hard. It's been years of saying monster. Why they didn't
But Nintendo is primed to kill it tomorrow. Breath of the Wild 2, Mario Odyssey 2, or whatever the next Mario game is, Metroid Prime 4.
You know,
all this new stuff.
Right? We all deal with anxiety,
so
we all deal with fear, and
last year they were also primed to kill it, and they really botched it.
That sounded so cheesy, but it
So we'll
definitely
see.
connected with me.
No,
like,
I understand. And like for me personally, again, somebody who does love the core Monster Hunter series, I didn't give Monster Hunter Stories 1 really a chance.
Yeah.
And so seeing this trailer,
I would
for it,
love
like,
that.
Oh, man, this plays a lot more like an anime.
I would love an Ocarina of Time
That's
remaster.
interesting, and it is interesting to see that world, the mechanics we know, and not mechanics.
I mean, they're
but
remastering what, Twilight Princess, I think.
what the world building techniques are.
Or was it Skyward Sword? I don't remember.
I'm with you, the trailer actually looked interesting. Where I'm like, oh man,
I think it was Skyward Sword.
I just think that sometimes, you know, these trailers, they go so hard with being like, look at all the action, look at how cool this is, and like, here's these awesome visuals, and I felt like they were like, no, like, this has a lot of heart to it.
Yeah.
So I definitely...
There was very little gameplay in it to be at all, right?
Truly,
when they finally got to a battle, I was like, oh, this is what battle even looks like.
Yeah, I would love an HD remake
they definitely laid heavy on
of
the cinematics.
Ocarina of Time,
a little bit about,
any of their older
Monster
games.
Hunter Rise.
Of course.
And I mean, man, they have a ton of stuff dropping through June and July. Like
Well,
all
yeah,
these
they have that
collaborations.
mixed in for stories too, right? Like
Yeah.
they had all this different stuff in there. They had a
Yeah.
whole Monster Hunter block there, and I feel like we didn't even scratch the surface of it.
Not even, yeah.
We will. There's still much more to talk about in Capcom, but yeah.
Yep,
Monster Hunter
I'm gonna
Stories
call it
2
there.
grabbed my
That
attention.
was
July
kind of
9th,
disappointing. I was hoping for more Resident Evil, but I will be back tomorrow at noon Eastern with
We're gonna have a ton of
Nintendo.
Capcom and what we thought. But first, we've got some news from the folks at Razer. Take a look.
But until then, peace out. I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the Razer keynote at E3, the world's biggest video games convention,
We have got an insane show for everyone today. We have come a long way here